Hello, hello. Oh, it's quite loud. Okay. Um, okay, yeah, my name is Christian, and I was doing one of the citizen journalism workshops. The project I'm just going to show you today is not really about film, but Saul asked me to represent it, and I hope it has some kind of relevance. And yeah, just ask me some questions. Um, what I'm doing in the moment is I'm doing a science and art collaboration, and I'm interviewing a whole bunch of neuroscientists. And my first feeling was that they're going to be really boring and really difficult. And actually, it turned out to be quite interesting. The main thing that I'm asking them about is really about perception, and I'm talking to them about emotion. There's a whole kind of hello. There's a whole field of scientists kind of interested in really thinking about what's really happening in our bodies when we feel something. There's this guy called Damasio that I'm reading about at the moment who's really suggesting that emotions and feelings are two separate things. So emotions is something that happens in the body, and feelings is something that happens in the mind, if you like. So this kind of stuff is really interesting. I mean, it's relevant to the biomapping stuff I'm doing, but I'm doing this kind of sensory mapping work, and I'll tell you why it's kind of relevant. So my real interest is kind of what do we see in the city, if you like. So it's just a kind of a standard image of London, if you like, and you know there's a huge amount of sensory overload happening at the moment, and the things that I hate in particular are those kind of stupid animated adverts on the tube as you're going up, and they're starting to have these kind of TV screens, and they always kind of catch your attention in the corner of your eye. And I really wonder, there's so much discussion about pollution, for example, and the police have just been given new powers to evict people within 48 hours by causing noise pollution. 48 hours, you can be kicked out of your own home for causing noise pollution, but sit in the London Underground and you get a noise level which is way above normal working conditions, and the amount of kind of sensory pollution you get by just kind of walking through a city, I think is quite enormous. So I'm really kind of curious how you could build a kind of a sensory politics, if you like, which is based on people's own perception of the world out there. So what I'm kind of doing in the moment is I'm doing workshops with young people at schools, for example, and I'm calling it sensory deprivation mapping. And depending on the age, sometimes I show them pictures of Guantanamo kind of Bay prisoners being kind of shackled up and not being able to hear and see things, but also not being able to touch things. But what we're really doing is that they're going for a walk in their local environment, and they're often being led around by one of the other pupils. And I'm just asking them to record the sensations they're experiencing. And as you can see, it's probably mainly about smell. Let me just open this up. There you go. So they're basically walking along, and one of them has a GPS, and they're talking about their experiences, their sensations, and the other one is taking notes. As you can see, it's mainly about smells, but a hell of a lot about food. But things that kind of interest me are some of these kind of other interactions. On the way back, the people who worked in the garage were asking us questions. I felt nervous because I couldn't see who I was talking to. I felt scared because my friend bumped into me. One of the real challenges for the young people with this project was they really had to find a language to describe their sensations, and they were finding it very difficult, and especially smells are incredibly difficult to discuss. One of the things the neuroscientists were talking to me about, for example, is that smell goes straight to the kind of the primitive part of our brain and actually kind of goes past all the kind of language centers. So we actually find it very difficult to kind of talk about smell, but it's very easy at evoking memories, for example. So if you like, there's a real problem of trying to kind of talk about smell. if the little dots, the different colors, the red dots are negative sensations based on what they kind of classified as being negative. The blue ones are positive ones, and the kind of the yellow are kind of neutral. And it was really when I kind of counted them up and realized that 50% were negative, 28 positive, and 22 neutral, that I really started realizing how we really start experiencing kind of like a lot of these things as being quite negative sensations in this sense. So it started getting me to think about this kind of sensory pollution, if you like. And if you like, how do we generate choice about the kind of sensory input we have? So there's a kind of a limit to the kind of discussions you can have with people in different kind of groups. But I'm really enjoying doing this stuff and kind of like discussing it with different groups. So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. And that's about it. And I've made a cute little logo for it. Yeah, if anybody's got any questions, that's probably my 7 minutes. Yeah.